Assalamu alaikum, I'm Makhdoom Shahabuddin, and tonight we are not just discussing a policy, we are questioning the very map of Pakistan. For 79 years, we have operated on a fixed framework, four provinces bound together in a federation. But tonight we ask, what if that framework is no longer a foundation but a cage? What if the very system designed to hold us together is now the primary engine of our failure? Consider the state of the nation, a nation where 44% of our children suffer from stunting. Their bodies and minds are being compromised before they even have a chance to grow. A nation where 2.5 crore, 25 million children are not in any school. We are number one in the world for this catastrophic failure. A nation where for nearly 8 decades, true development has been hoarded, concentrated in just 5 major capital cities, leaving the rest of the country to fight for scraps. For decades, we have blamed politicians, we have blamed corruption, we have blamed global forces. But what if the real culprit is the machine itself? What if the administrative structure of Pakistan, four massive, unwieldy provinces, is so broken, is so fundamentally unbalanced that it is simply incapable of delivering justice, health, or education to its people? The diagnosis is in, the system is collapsing, and now a radical, explosive idea is re entering the mainstream. Not reform, not new policies, not another election, but a complete and total redraw of Pakistan's internal borders. Tonight, we decode the 12 province question. Is this the masterstroke that finally delivers governance to the people? A cure for decades of rot? Or is it a criminally expensive distraction? A Pandora's box that threatens to unleash ethnic fires and constitutional chaos at the worst possible moment. This is not a theoretical debate. This is not a seminar. This is a battle for Pakistan's future. Let's begin. Ladies and gentlemen, let's start with the facts because the facts are damning. Pakistan is the only major federation in the world. Let me repeat, the only one where a single federating unit contains more than 52% of the total population. We have built a federation on a structural impossibility. One unit, Punjab, with 13 crore people, is larger than other three combined. Another unit, Balochistan, is massive in size, 44% of our landmass, but has a population of less than 1.5 crore, making it administratively impossible to govern from one central point. Globally, we are an anomaly, and the world has moved on. Indonesia, a diverse nation of 270 million people, understood this. It has 34 provinces. India, which gained independence with us in 1947, started with 9 provinces. Today, it has 39 states and union territories. They adopted, they evolved. The United States, a nation of 330 million, is held together by 50 states. We, with a booming population of 250 million, are trying to run a 21st century nation on an administrative model from 1947. Ladies and gentlemen, proponents of change argue this isn't just a numbers game. It is the source of our chronic national failure. This imbalance has guaranteed one thing: uneven development. It has created a system of internal colonies where provincial capitals act like imperial centers, hoarding resources and power. Let's look at the evidence. In Sindh, the grievance is clear. Karachi, the economic engine of the entire country, feels it is treated like a cash machine. It generates massive revenue, but its own infrastructure, its roads, its water, its sanitation is left to collapse while resources are distributed elsewhere. In Punjab, the same story echoes. Ask anyone in South Punjab, in Multan, Bahawalpur, or DG Khan, they will tell you that for decades, the lion's share of the development budget has been consumed by Lahore and the northern GT road belt. They feel like a distant, forgotten territory. In Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, the Hazara division, home to Hindko-speaking populations, has long argued its administrative and cultural needs are ignored by Peshawar. In Balochistan, the distances are vast. How can a citizen in Gwadar on the coast possibly feel connected to a government in Quetta, hundreds of kilometers away? The result is not just a feeling of neglect, it is a documented reality. Weak institutions, rampant corruption, and a public that is left behind, frustrated, and angry. A recent academic study published in the NDU journal drilled into this very question. It surveyed the people in the very regions demanding change: Hazara, Multan, and Karachi. The findings are explosive. The demand for new provinces is not, as many believe, rooted primarily in ethnicity. The data shows it is rooted in administrative and economic desperation. Number one, this isn't just a political stunt. This is a cry for help. The people see the current system as a black hole and they are demanding a way out. Because of this systematic failure, the demand for new provinces is re-emerging stronger than ever. This is no longer a fringe movement. It is a mainstream discussion. Proposals are being drafted, debated in seminars, and pushed in the media. There are several plans. One proposal suggests converting all 32 administrative divisions into new provinces. Another, more focused plan proposes a new federation of 12 to 14 provinces targeting the areas with the most acute grievances. This would mean carving a South Punjab province from Punjab, a separate Bahawalpur province, restoring its old state identity, a Hazara province in KP, a Karachi province in Sindh, a Pothohar province in northern Punjab, a Gwadar province or a separate coastal unit in Balochistan. But is this what the people truly want, or is this just a fantasy of the political elite? The NDU study I mentioned gives us the answer, and it is undeniable. When asked, a staggering 82.5% of the people in these regions said they were in favor of new provinces. But why? This is the critical question. The study found that they believed it delivers good governance. A massive 77% of respondents believe more provinces will lead to better administrative management, cutting crime and corruption. They believe it is crucial for economic development. An overwhelming 80.3% said new provinces are important for the economic stability and development of their neglected region. They believed it brings government closer. In South Punjab, the feeling is one of profound isolation. They see a new province as the only way to get their fair share of the budget, which they see being spent in central and northern Punjab. They believe it solves administrative nightmares. For the people of Hazara, the grievance is tangible. They are forced to travel all the way to Peshawar for official tasks, while the name change of the province from NWFP to KP was a trigger. The study found the demand is deeper. It's about identity, language, and administration. They believe it restores financial fairness. In Karachi, the belief is clear. The city is an economic powerhouse that generates massive revenue but doesn't get the proper budget allocation for its own infrastructure. The evidence is clear. This is not an ethnic war. This is a public demand for efficiency, for accountability, and for a government they can actually see, touch, and hold responsible. They are not trying to break the federation. They are trying to save it by making it functional. They are arguing that a government in Multan will understand the farmer in South Punjab better than a government in Lahore, and that a government in Karachi will finally fix the roads in Karachi. It is a demand for common sense. A new map, a rational solution, a public demand. It all sounds logical. But as the momentum builds, critics are sounding a terrifying alarm. They are asking, is this really the solution? Or is it a fatal distraction that could plunge Pakistan into a new self-inflicted crisis? Let's decode the counter-argument. First, the timing. At a moment when Pakistan is fighting a bloody resurgence of terrorism, at a moment when our economy is just beginning to show signs of life after a near default, is this the time to ignite a highly emotive, deeply divisive constitutional debate? This isn't just a policy change. It requires a two-thirds majority in the concerned provincial assemblies and then another two-thirds majority in both houses of parliament, the National Assembly and the Senate. It's a process that could paralyze the state for years, just when we need to be most agile. Second, the cost. This is the argument that stops everyone in their tracks. Critics call this a criminal extravagance. This isn't just drawing lines on a map. Let's assume we create 8 new provinces. That means we have to pay for 8 new governors, 8 new chief ministers, 8 new multi-hundred member cabinets, 8 new provincial assemblies with thousands of new members and their staff, 8 new high courts with hundreds of new judges, 8 new civil secretariats with tens of thousands of new bureaucrats, and the billions upon billions needed for the physical infrastructure. The assembly buildings, the high courts, the chief minister houses, the offices, the cars, the security. In a nation that cannot feed 44% of its children, is this where our money should go? In an economy that lives on IMF bailouts, can we afford this? The critics say no. They say this is a fiscal fantasy that would bankrupt the nation. And third, and most importantly, is it even the real solution? Opponents of the great redraw argue that the problem isn't the size of the provinces. The problem is the concentration of power. They argue that the real answer, the simpler, cheaper and more effective solution is already in our constitution, waiting to be used. It's called Article 140A, Empowered Local Governments. The UK is a unitary state, not even a federation, but it delivers services through powerful local councils. In Pakistan, local government is a joke. It is the first casualty of every new democratic government. It is never funded, it is never given power, it is dissolved at will. Why? Because provincial assemblies, whether in Lahore, Karachi, Peshawar or Quetta, do not want to give up their power. They want to control the budget for every street and square because that is the source of their political patronage. Critics argue that creating 12 new provinces will not solve this. It will just create 12 new power centers, 12 new mini kings who will also hold power in their new capitals. A farmer in rural Bahawalpur will be just as far from the new capital in Bahawalpur city as he was from Lahore. The problem, they say, is not the map. It's the refusal to devolve power to the grassroots. This is the great debate, a broken system versus a dangerous solution. The public is caught in the middle. But what do they feel? We went to the streets to ask them one question. Do you feel neglected by your provincial capital? And is a new province the only answer? Let's have a look what they had to say.
एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिवली सख्ती करनी चाहिए, ज़िले इंतज़ामिया जो है उस पर सख्ती करनी चाहिए, उससे सहूलियात बेहतर होंगी। मौजूदा क्वालिटी को बेहतर करें, सूबों से कोई फ़र्क नहीं पड़ेगा। मेरी राय ये है कि इस इशू को अब मेरे ख्याल 40-50 साल हो गए ये चल रहा है, इससे कोई फ़र्क नहीं पड़ेगा और ब्यूरोक्रेसी थोड़ी बेहतर पोजीशन में काम करेगी तो इंशाल्लाह रिज़ल्ट बहुत अच्छे आएंगे। अब ब्यूरोक्रेसी बहुत टॉप लेवल के लोग आ गए और इंशाल्लाह वो संभाल लेंगे।
मेरी राय यही है हुकूमत को चाहिए कि इन चीज़ों पे बहुत से जल्द जो है अपना काम स्टार्ट करे। और जैसे भावलपुर जैसे इलाके जो हैं छोटे, अब इन पे जब इनमें रिसोर्सेज वगैरह दी जाएंगी तो ये है कि इनके जो लोग हैं उनको फैसिलिटीज़ मिलेंगी और लोग जो है अच्छा काम करेंगे।
मेरे भाई, नए सूबे बनाना कोई आसान बात नहीं है, ये बहुत मुश्किल काम है। नहीं होंगे ना जी, बनेंगे ही नहीं। कितना जब बनाएंगे तो कितनी मुश्किलातें आएंगी, ये आसान काम तो नहीं है। एक तहसील को, एक सूबे को बनाना, आप देखें कितना, वो इतने सूबे बनाना बहुत मुश्किल काम है, बहुत मुश्किल।
बस ये एक ट्रक की बत्ती के पीछे लगाने वाली बात है कि चलो जी हो जाएगा। वो जो एक सोचेगा कि मैं तो जॉब नहीं मिली, शायद मेरे बच्चों को मिल जाए आगे आने वाले टाइम में। लोग मुल्क को छोड़ के बाहर जा रहे हैं और ये लोग खुद भी तरजीह दे रहे हैं कि हम बाहर जाएं जी, ये करें वो। गवर्नमेंट को चाहिए ना, जिस तरह भुट्टो दौर में हुआ था, मीरपुर वाले लोग जो हैं वो 5 लाख 6 लाख इंग्लैंड बैठे हुए हैं। गवर्नमेंट सतह पे अफरादी क़ुव्वत के लिए क्यों ऐलान नहीं करते, बजाय इसके कि नए सूबे और नए मामलात यहाँ खड़े कर रहे हैं जिन पे अमल ही कोई नहीं होना।
पुराने सूबों की वजह से तालीम कम हो रही है, लोग बहुत कम जा रहे हैं। जब नए सूबे बनेंगे तो उसमें मतलब कि रुझान ज़्यादा बढ़ेगा, उसमें अच्छा काम होगा। गवर्नमेंट अच्छा सोच रही है, होना चाहिए ऐसे। बिल्कुल, वो नए सूबे बनेंगे तो फिर आवाज़ आएगी, ज़रूर पहुंचेगी आवाज़, क्योंकि अभी तो नहीं पहुंच सकती आवाज़, वहाँ पे लोग नहीं आ सकते, नहीं पहुंच सकते। जैसे अगर बावलपुर है, लाहौर आवाज़ नहीं पहुंच सकती, अगर नए सूबे बनेंगे तो उसमें आवाज़ें आ जाएंगी और ज़्यादा मतलब कि अच्छा होगा।
नया सूबा बन जाए, हमारा कोई खिदमत करे, आवाम के लिए कोई खिदमत करे, फिर तो बन सकता है। हम आवाम की कोई खिदमत नहीं करेगा फिर तो नहीं बन सकता है। हमारा नया सूबा बन जाए, हमारा डी खान के लिए कुछ करना है तो बेहतरी हो जाएगा, कि नहीं वैसे पड़े रहेंगे।
Welcome back. This is not a simple debate. There is no easy answer. It is a clash of two profound and deeply troubling realities. The first reality is that our current system is broken. It is not a minor fault. It is a fundamental design flaw. It is failing millions, it is failing our children, it is concentrating wealth and power in the hands of a tiny elite in a few gleaming cities while the rest of the nation starves for food, for education, for justice. This reality is unacceptable. The status quo is indefensible. The second reality is that the proposed cure could be a poison, a great redraw that in our current state of economic fragility and political polarization could be a gamble we cannot afford. A constitutional crisis that our enemies would exploit and our nation might not survive. So where does that leave us? It leaves us with the truth that the people on the streets are crying out for. The core of this debate is not about maps, it is about survival. It is about the 44% of the children who are stunted. It is about the 25 million children who are not in schools. Whether the answer is 12 provinces, 32 provinces, or 10,000 fully empowered, constitutionally protected, and financially independent local councils. One thing is now undeniable. The old model is finished. The age of the all-powerful, distant provincial capitals is over. Governors must be ripped from the high walls of those colonial-era secretariats and delivered to the streets, the villages, and the neighborhoods where the people of Pakistan actually live. The old model has failed. A new one must be born. The only question is whether we have the courage to build it or whether we will let the system collapse on top of us all. I'm Makhdoom Shahabuddin and this was Trending Daily.